Thank you. Okay, is my screen showing?
Yes.
Okay, excellent. So here we go. Right, thanks, Warren. Glad to be here. My name is Malcolm. I hail from Singapore. So it's past midnight right now. And well, the world doesn't sleep for blockchain and crypto and DeFi projects. So I'd like to present Kingswap, which is our newest offering as a decentralized exchange and a DeFi project. And so what's the issue we're trying to solve? Basically making financial service universally accessible to everyone around the world, right? That's the whole point of having DeFi and hi-fi kinds of projects that basically allow the common people to have the power of financial inclusion back in their hands, away from the central authorities. So what's happening right now in the crypto space? We are starting with a grand mission to serve the unbanked, to disrupt existing inefficient and costly financial markets, and to achieve a common good for all mankind. Now, these are very lofty goals, and it's very, very big. So this presentation is to show you how we are intending to do that, what's our starting point, and what's the roadmap. The next thing is decentralized finance. That's all the rage right now. It has been over the best part of this year, and the space is going to keep exploding, I believe. And decentralized finance projects have basically taken the industry by storm, and we are one of the offerings, newest offerings on the block. Thirdly, we are a fork of the UniSwap protocol, and we also have our own AMM features coming up right after we do the migration, and when we go into the layer 2 implementations and layer 3 implementations that we have scheduled. So in the initial phase, we are essentially similar to UniSwap, and once we have sufficient liquidity to grow our own liquidity pools, we will then do the migration and implement the further technological improvements that we have planned. And we are a DEX ecosystem, so we are following the UniSwap decentralized exchange model, which is the provision of liquidity pools. So I'll give more elaboration into these points as I go along. Our solution is Kingswap's regulated, fair, and transparent DeFi AMM. So what do all these buzzwords mean? So this is the most important slide that I'd like to take some time to explain. So we have taken inspiration from the UniSwap or SushiSwap events and protocols, and we have ramped it up several notches, we believe, by introducing a heavyweight panel of advisors, and also clearly seen and visible directors of the company, a company that is in charge of the project, and a regulated offering. And of course, regulated offering is something that a lot of people will be very interested in. So how exactly do we go about doing this so-called regulated offering? So just like any other decentralized exchange, essentially there is no requirement for a regulation because it's a provision of a technological platform for people to transact with each other peer-to-peer. The exchange only serves as a platform and to enable the participants to exchange or swap their tokens. So where does regulation come in? As I'm sure all of you are aware, having been in this space for the last few months, a lot of exit scams are happening. Practically every week, we were hearing of a new scam or a new vulnerability or yet another project with unknown faces behind it. So we believe that Kingswap will put an end to this and show you a regulated offering, show you faces behind the project, and be accountable for the project. So how does regulation come in? We are essentially doing a regulated token offering out of Singapore under the Monetary Authority of Singapore's Payment Services Act. So we have a token issuer, which is an exempt entity and is able to issue the tokens under the Singapore regulations. So this puts us above practically every other project out there. As you're probably aware, most decentralized exchanges, most DeFi projects don't even show the faces and are totally anonymous as to who their developers are, who their founders are, who are their controllers. But Kingswap is totally different. We believe in presenting a face to the world to show who's behind the project and to be accountable if anything goes wrong with the project. So this is basically a huge improvement on the DeFi space. The next thing is that we also offer fiat off-ramps as well as further roadmap milestones that will bring us into a more of a hybrid model and get into the regulated space. So what does that mean? As I'm sure a lot of you know, one of the huge pain points in this industry is exactly how does crypto convert into fiat. So we have a card program, a debit card program, which we've introduced into the ecosystem, where people who are using their own MetaMask wallets or their own Mu wallets are also able to do a fiat off-ramp and convert the crypto into fiat. But when they do this, they would have to get regulated, meaning they have to provide KYC and get into the system. So this offers a very nice hybrid model. Those who want to be anonymous and do not want to provide KYC can carry on using the technological tools that the platform offers. Those who want to get into the mainstream system can have a very easy way to ease into the system by completing the KYC and then get regulated. So we are able to do all these through our hybrid model in Singapore. That's a huge improvement that we see on the space. The next thing is that through design and credibility, we are adding value to the ecosystem. So what does this mean? We are improving on the UniSwap and SushiSwap models, and those of you who are following us will see that once we do the migration into our Kingswap.io platform, we will have certain efficiencies and design improvements. The fourth thing is that Kingswap is the newest liquidity pool platform. And earlier I mentioned we also offer the off-ramp to fiat currencies. And these solutions are some improvements over the existing DeFi space projects. Because DeFi essentially still requires crypto to crypto. Crypto to fiat is something that is not easy to find in this ecosystem. So all these community-oriented features and allowing a bridge between the DeFi space and the centralized finance space is something that will set us apart. And lastly, I already mentioned, Kingswap is a legal and corporate entity, and we are running this out of a very well-regarded regulatory environment in Singapore. And we also have a legal opinion that is covering this, and we have a regulated token issuance. So these are the main points. Next, I would like to introduce the team. So Dunstan is one of the OGs, a very well-known guy from the Singapore scene. And he's also been involved in various protocols and been in multiple advisory positions. Edmund is our chief trader, and he hails from a trading background. He has been in the crypto trading space over the last few years and is quite familiar with this. Dr. Anish Muhammad is someone that a lot of you might know as well. He's another one of the OGs in the space. He's been involved in multiple protocols and multiple projects in the space. He's a very well-known cryptographer as well, having about 20 years experience behind him. And he's also a medical doctor. He's the CTO and one of the co-founders of the project. Myself, I've been in the space for the last 3 years, and we've been advising 80 to 100 projects from all over the world, and we have successfully brought many projects to fruition as well. And I'm the chief advisor for the Technicorum Group, which is behind this project, helping to incubate it and helping it to go through the regulatory and compliance requirements. Ho Chin Shin is a director of Kingswap Private Limited, and he hails from over 3 decades of banking and finance experience. He was a director in multiple roles at multiple banks and is a well-known figure in the traditional finance space. Seeing the opportunity and seeing how the financial space has been developing, he decided to join this project, and he brings the traditional finance world credibility to the system. Michael Turpin, of course, is a very well-known name, and he's the driving force behind this CoinAgenda. He's on our advisory board, and he has brought the Transform Group to support this project as well. And he has introduced our project to many of his friends as well as VCs, and we have many supporting VCs behind us as well. Lionel Iruk is a very well-known boutique lawyer, and he's a managing partner of Empire Global, which has done numerous legal opinions from all over the world. And he's a leading figure in the DeFi space as well as the gaming and cryptocurrency space. So we are also very happy to have him on board as he goes through the regulatory and compliance requirements with us as well. Professor Alex Nascimento is the face of 7cc, which is another one of our supporting VCs. And he himself is also an early LP. And he is teaching a course at UCLA on security token offerings. He's written a book, and I've written a foreword for him in his book, and he has written a foreword in my books. So I've recently published a DeFi space book as well. Next, we have Dr. Robert Choi. Dr. Robert Choi is well known as the Global Marketing Officer for the HTAC project that was the #1 token offering in 2017. And he brings the wealth of experience. Sorry? He brings a wealth of experience from the Korean markets, and he's been involved in a lot of the top projects there. Dr. Gianpaolo Perigi is a single-family office chairman, and from the traditional finance world as well as private equity. Dr. Christian Rio is very well known in Singapore as one of the OGs in the space as well. He's a huge whale, and he's also an early supporter of our project. Some Kingswap members, we have a full team assembled in a little over a month, and we have over 20 people working on the project. I won't go into all the individuals here. Essentially, another huge way that we have innovated is by introducing NFTs. And Halloween coming up around the corner, we are doing the official launch of the project on the 30th, and on the 31st, we'll be on UniSwap with the first liquidity pool. So we have issued several types of NFTs, and this is a huge improvement on the space because essentially through our NFTs, we are providing rewards and airdrops to the holders of the NFTs. So for the first time, people who are owning NFTs can get rewarded and can earn a return on holding these collectibles. So they both retain the value of the collectible and can resell it. I personally have already made money from reselling some of these collectibles, but at the same time, they can get rewarded by the project providing airdrops. So I'll end off here, and do feel free to follow us in our roadmap and on our path to this. Any questions?
Well, we're really tight on questions, but if there's a question, go ahead, judges.
Yep.
Yeah, if I could just as a quick idea, you talk
Sure.
about what you're raising in several different ways, but there's not really an explanation of the timeline, the different phases, and how you're going to be rolling this out over the coming months, the next year. What does that look like?
Okay, we are happy to announce that our funding rounds have already closed. This was very, very quick. We managed to get to our targets within a month. So there is no real roadmap for this. We are going to be on the stores. Our NFTs are limited in number, and they'll be sold to whoever is a community supporter. So there are 3 series. There's the King series, the Queen series, and the Knight series, and each of them gets different rewards, percentages from the pools. So that will always be sold as long as there's a market and as long as they haven't run out. As for the pre-sale and private sale, that's finishing in 2 days' time. So we don't really need any further sales of this. So whoever's still doing the discussions with us and the paperwork will complete that. We have reached our liquidity provision rounds. So we have had a lot of support from well-known VCs. So we have Plutus Capital, we have Hash Street, we have 7cc that I mentioned, Alpha Sigma Capital, Tradecraft has just joined us as well. So we have a few VCs that are supporting this and are providing liquidity. We have also raised enough liquidity. We have far exceeded our soft cap, which was only 1,000 ETH. So in terms of the roadmap, 30th, we start the smart contract, we start the project. 31st will be on Uniswap in the first pool, and then we'll take stock there and see how the project goes. We'll follow pretty much the same roadmap like SushiSwap, and once we have enough liquidity, we'll do a migration into our Kingswap.io platform. And there we'll be similar to Uniswap, and we'll then start improving our own AMM models as well as putting in layer 2 and layer 3 implementations.
Great.
Okay.
Thanks, Malcolm.
Great. We're
Welcome.
really behind on time. So any other questions? So Malcolm's easy to connect, and he will be around. Maybe not later tonight for him, but tomorrow at CoinAgenda. So
Right.
easy to find.